Hey, what's going on, guys? Schwarzenegger Magic here, and today I'm going to be showing you the tutorial and explanation to my last card trick called Lucky Pick. Now, if you haven't seen the trick, I recommend you check it out. That way you understand what I'm doing here, and it's not too confusing. So, the link is on the screen. Check it out, and then come back. So, I'm going to assume you checked it out, and let's get into the setup and what cards you're going to need. So, of course, you're going to need 2 decks of cards. One deck you're going to be used for the spectator selecting a card. In my case, I'm going to be using the blue deck. Now, from the blue deck, you're going to need 4 cards. You're going to need 3 random cards, and then your ace of spades. Then, from the red deck, which the spectator's not going to be selecting a card from, you're going to need matching random cards. So there are 2 cards, and then the red ace of spades, okay? You will also need to go into whatever random deck that you have and get another pair of matching cards. So, obviously, throughout this trick, I'm going to be forcing and using the 3 of hearts and the 6 of spades. Now, these backs, it does not matter. Mine just happen to be red. Now, on each of these cards, on both of these cards, you're going to put some double stick tape, okay, because these are going to be double face cards, okay. So, take one of those, doesn't matter which one. Go to your blue cards and take the random, or the blue odd card. In my case, it's the 8 of spades. It doesn't matter, though. Put that on, square it up, and push it tight. Now, take your other card. Doesn't matter which one. Should have double stick tape on this. Now take your red ace. Okay, make sure it's the red, or whichever deck ace that you're not using to perform. So because I'm using the blue deck to perform, I'm taking the other ace, or the red ace. Okay. You should be good. You should have double-sided cards, 2 random, or 1 should have an ace, the other should be random, and then, of course, your 2 force cards. Put those off to the side for now. Get back to those in just a moment. Now let's get into these 5 cards that are left. With this other last ace, just take that ace and put it on the bottom of the blue deck. And now with these 2, you want to match up the 6 of spades with the 6 of spades and 3 of hearts with 3 of hearts. Put those face to face, and then put one of those on top of the red deck and one of them on top of the blue deck. Now, of course, you don't want them flipped up like this because then they look strange. Okay, you want to make sure they're matching with the deck. Okay. Now, this deck is going to be the deck they're putting their cards into later on. So this is really just used toward the end of the trick, so we'll put that toward the back. Now let's get into this deck, okay? Of course, you should now get your other 2 cards. Flip the deck over, and remember, we put this ace right here. And you want to flip the cards over so that they look random. Take the ace, which has the difference to the other side, and put that in the center. So the ace is facing up. That's randomly in the center, followed by the 8 of spades face down, or face up. So, we go through the deck here, the blue deck. We have the 8 of spades with 3 on the back, the ace of diamond, or ace of spades with nothing, that's just a regular card, and then in the center here we have the ace of spades with a force card on the back. That is your setup. You are now complete to force a card. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to spread the cards out. Okay, but don't reveal the last 2 cards, because if you reveal the last 2 cards, they'll see 2 ace of spades, and they'll get a little suspicious. So you're going to spread the cards out, don't reveal the last 2 cards, mention you're going to take out the ace of spades, make sure not to flash the other side, because it does have another side, and put that on the bottom of the deck. Square up everything, and now ask them to just cut a packet of cards to the side. Okay, it doesn't matter where they cut because it works every time. They could cut high, low. Just make sure to keep the packet very square because if they do move it, they will see the cards. So, they reach over, they take off a packet, and then you take the other cards and flip them over. Mark it with the ace and square everything up. Now, because of our gimmicks and whatnot, if you turn the deck back over, spread them out, it looks very real. And there should be an ace. You're going to take the next 2 cards, which happen to be, what do you know, are 2 force cards. Okay, you don't need the blue deck anymore. Now, these cards, you must be very careful, because these cards have another back. Now, because of that, that's the only thing I don't really like about the trick. These cards do have another side to them. But let's continue. You now need your red deck. You want to spread out the deck. That way you don't show the bottom two and the top two cards, because those cards will be your two force cards, and if you show those, they'll be a little suspicious. So, just practice a little bit. Just practice spreading the cards out and not showing those cards. Once you have them spread out, you're going to have your spectator put in these two cards. Now, it's very important on where you put the two cards in, because if you have the 6 on top, okay, the 6 is on top, you want to put the 6 toward the bottom. So it's basically the opposite. If the 3 was on top, the 3 goes on the bottom. And because the 3 is on the bottom, the 3 goes on the top. So it's basically the opposite. So during your setup, you want to remember where those cards are. Now, you spread out the deck, making sure not to show the cards. And now, remember, the 6 is on top, so you say, the 6 is somewhere toward the bottom, so just tell me when to stop here, and I'll just put the card in. Now, it's very important that you hold the card and ask them when to stop, because if they were to hold the card, they might flip it over or something and see the other side. So just say, I'm just going to slide the card like this, just tell me when to stop. And I like to say this, the 6 is somewhere near the bottom, the 3 is somewhere near the top, okay? Because in the end, you want the 6 to be put in the bottom and the 3 to put in the top. They slide through, let's say they say stop right there, and you put the 6 in. You do the same with the 3, they call out stop, and let's say it was right here, the 3 goes in. You want to close everything up, making sure not to flash, and they can redo this if they would like, okay? But you're just going to square everything up, and now comes just a little tricky part. Now, this is a false cut here, okay? That is a false cut. Many of you know it, and off the top of my head, I'm not quite sure what the name is, but by the time you see this, you probably will see an annotation on the screen on what it is, or someone will tell me in the comments. Now, we're going to walk you through this because it's not exactly this false cut, but it is very, very similar. Hold the deck in your dominant hand, in my case, the left hand. Now, you want to swing cut a card and pack it maybe about a third into your non-dominant hand. You then want to pick up a packet of cards using your pointer finger. Take your thumb, which is holding the third of the packet here, insert it into the center here. Okay? Once it is in the center, you're going to switch this packet with this packet. So basically, I am grabbing them and switching them. So let me show you that again. I insert my thumb in, hold down both packets, grab the other one, and switch it. It takes just a little bit of practice, but it actually comes pretty simple. From here, you're going to place down whichever hand has two packets. You're going to place down both of those packets, followed by that packet that is left. Okay, I'm going to go through that one more time. Swing cut one packet of cards. Just open up the cards using your pointer finger, insert your thumb, switch packets, drop down these two first, followed by this. Okay, so once you have done that, it is complete. Now, the reason you do that is because, remember, your two cards, your 6 of spades and 3 of hearts, were on top and bottom of the deck. And when I finish the trick, they're magically in the center. Now, doing that completes it, and they are now in the center using that cut. Okay. Now, just make sure that you're cutting the deck into thirds. Now, obviously, it doesn't have to be perfect. It really doesn't. Okay? But just make sure you're not cutting like half there. Okay? You just want to make sure you're swing cutting about a thirds. Okay? Now, once you've done that, you then want to just go through. You can spread the cards out, actually. I like spreading the cards out more. But just go through the cards, find the two, and they should be right next to their cards, and the trick is complete. Now, because the other ones were not seen, because actually they are in this deck, they're just double-sided so you don't see them. That's the trick. There's only one little confusing part, which is the cut. So once again, this is what it should look like. You can watch my performance. Once again, it's on the screen here. Just, I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you aren't clear about anything, that's it. I will see you next time.